Hello and welcome back to Empyrion Galactic Survival. My name is Spanj, and the first of the experimental builds for Alpha 9 has just arrived today. The post on Eleon's official forum has gone live and the version is available in Steam. Now if you want to partake in the experimental release, head over to your Steam library, right click on Empyrion Galactic Survival, select Properties, then hit Betas, and then from the beta select Experimental, Unstable Branch and close. Your game will then update and download. Once it's finished, you'll be able to play the experimental branch. Now let's quickly go through the forum post, the patch notes of Alpha 9, where there are several quite big fundamental changes to the game. So just a quick summary. You've got a new logistics system which is in preparation for the weight and volume integration. An important definition here is preparation for. This new weight and volume integration is not enabled in the game yet. It is there visually but is not enforced. Whether they will take the option to enforce it by force, or whether they'll give you the option to turn it off and on later, we don't know yet. We've got a whole new AI factions reputation territory system. NPCs are leveled, improved weapon handling and improved game starts, and more features, etc. down the bottom. Now they've obviously got the bug reports thread, but they have also put in this link here to the 2018 Indie Game of the Year awards. So if you do like Empyrion, head over to this link here. I'll link to the official forums down below, and I'll also put this link just below it. So just be careful if you're clicking through the links in the video description down below. If you want to vote, please do. If you love Empyrion, go and vote over at indiedb.com. Logistics, major feature. Now, because you remember I said that the logistics thing is not enabled, but you can enable it. So what the developers here have put in a little post here for those that want to test how it feels when the weight and volume restrictions are active, bearing in mind that they're still working on them. Then you can change this file, which is over in your default in your game installation folder, and is the default random game options YAML. You can change it so that it is enabled. In fact, let's do that now. So head over to your game directory. Let's pull that window back up so we can actually work on both at the same time. Okay, so they say go to your Steam Apps Common Empyrion Galactic Survival Content Scenarios Default Random Game Options YAML. So Content Scenarios Default Random Game Options.yaml. Now I recommend running this in Notepad++ if you have it. If not, it might be a little bit more difficult to see your way through using normal Notepad, but I'm sure you can probably figure it out. So from there, we want to set the enable volume weight to true. So this is right here. Enable volume weight is currently set to false. I'm going to set that to true. Just like that. We're going to save that file by hitting Control S. And then we're just going to close that back down again. So when we start our new survival game, which we'll do in a little while, we should have this volume weight system enabled. Now, obviously, you guys don't need to do this, but if you're curious like I am, that's how you check it out. Now, let's get into the actual nitty-gritty, shall we? So the logistics window, this is what it looks like. It's up at the main menu, so it looks like that. Little boxes on a conveyor system, and it looks a bit something like that. Now, I'm not going to read through this entire thing because you can do that yourselves, but in a nutshell, basically, you've got different structures on either side, including the player inventory, and you can swap stuff between them. So one of the examples they give you here is that you can fill the fuel tanks of a vessel like a SV, CV or even HV that's nearby, that's connected via this Wi-Fi signal they talk of. This is this one down here. And this number here is how many connected vessels there are. So you can basically connect your base cargo to a vessel fuel tank and just direct fuel directly into it from there. So you're using your backpack a hell of a lot less. In this update, it's all going to be done through this logistics kind of thing, because with the weights and volume thing, your backpack capacity is going to be, well, minuscule in comparison to what it used to be. This is going to take a lot of getting used to, and I suspect a lot of you are probably going to be quite unhappy initially with this change. just to give it some context, the large constructor down here has a volume of 2,500 litres. Your inventory has 500 litres. There are going to be some blocks and stuff that you physically cannot pick up. Also, to add to that, the constructor layout has changed. So rather than putting things in the constructor, you actually link stuff to the constructor. So we can see in this screenshot here, we are linking containers in the input, and we can link containers to the output as well, and then the constructor queue will behave like normal, at least until it reaches its 2,500 litre capacity. In order to cater for the volume and weights system, they've added a new modular container system. This replaces, kind of replaces, the existing cargo crates. The existing cargo crates, my understanding is they turn into furniture and are mostly decorative. The capacity of those crates are nothing compared to these modular containers. The modular containers can be linked together, as you can see in the screenshot here, and they have various shapes and stuff like that. I'm guessing they're technically the same as normal blocks, but with different properties that allow you to store things in them. In order to place one of the module containers, you need a container control unit, and the cargo expansion units are these individual blocks here. So we're going to check this out. We're going to check this out in a minute in some gameplay, but let's just continue through the rest of the patch notes quickly, and we'll come back to this. So just keep this in mind. But the next big update is the AI faction's reputation and territory. This seems to be going towards a sort of more RPG kind of feel than what we're normally used to in Empyrion, where we have different factions played by the NPCs in the game. At the moment, those factions are Xerax, Talon and Polaris, and the game might expand later to include custom factions later on with the new reputation point system. To summarize all of this, essentially your factions have different territories, and they also have different reputations with you as the player depending on your actions with them. It is entirely possible with these new factions to be friendly with the Xerax, in fact honoured with the Xerax, as well as it is possible to be unfriendly with the Polaris. And then Polaris are what your normal sort of trader NPCs would have been. So here we can see a screenshot of the sort of reputation system. We can see that the different reputations of the different factions. We can see that they're unfriendly with the Xerax and neutral with the Talon and the Polaris. The Talon being the natives, the spear wielding guys in the villages that don't like you attacking animals. Now you earn and lose reputation points by doing different things within their territory. So if you were to go over to the Xerax territory and kill a bunch of them, you're gonna lose some reputation points. However, if you head over to the Polaris territory and kill a bunch of them, you probably earn some favor with the Xerax, but incidentally lose favor with the Polaris. With the Talon, if you pick plants in their territory, they're going to get angry with you as well. So Talon are kind of like naturists. If you go and mine or pick plants or kill animals in their territory, then you're going to annoy them. Unless you're in an honored state. So different states provide you different benefits. So they have a nice example here. In an honored state, you get discounts at the faction traders. So this is, traders for Talon, Polaris. I don't know if the Xerax have traders. Maybe they will eventually. But if you mine ore, you don't get an RP penalty if you are honored with, and if you spawn a structure, again, you won't get an RP penalty. But if you're only friendly, then you might get a penalty if you mine ore. But if you're staying in their territory, you can without a penalty, and you harvest plants. If you're friendly, you can do that without a penalty. So different actions have different consequences or benefits depending on the faction. So it'll be interesting to see this dynamic in action. The other thing that we've seen is the leveled NPCs. So this seems to be a multiplier, a force multiplier in terms of hit points and damage attack. The higher the level, the more damage they will do to you. There's also some changes around which level creatures spawn in which POI. So if you remember in my last video, we saw a POI that had a level of it. In fact, we can see here this Talon Bazaar is level 2. This means this Bazaar is going to be spawning Talons between level 1 and 2. But let's see how that looks in game. If we continue down, we've got improved weapon handling using iron sights and stuff like that, which is nice. New models on the pistols. There's recoil in the weapons. We've got red dots and stuff like that as well, which is nice, which is quality of life improvements. It's nice to have some better weapon handling. Not sure the purpose of a sight on a shotgun, but there we go. Improved in-game start. We've got some new tutorial style to the added to the Robinson protocol. It's now also visible in multiplayer, and so on and so forth. If we continue down, boarding ramps, new decoration systems. They've updated some models, new AI pathing, so on and so forth. Like I said, link down below. You can read the full patch notes for yourself. There is one important thing that I've just caught my eye as I'm scrolling through that. With the replacement of the containers with these new modular blocks, you can actually use the replace blocks command in creative mode in order to replace your existing cargo boxes with the new container modules. So we can see here replace blocks, then the ID of whatever it is you're wanting to do, and then we've got these numbers, which I assume is the ID of the various containers, and then the container names themselves. So it should be relatively straightforward to update your blueprints with the new containers once Alpha 9 does land. But let's head into some actual gameplay and see what all of this actually means. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice when you start Empyrion Alpha 9 Experimental is a slight change to the front page. First of all, you've got your profile settings up here now, where you can change your character, and you can actually change the character color now on the entire RGB set, which is nice. You can also, if you go to new game, start the game either in the classic random survival game mode, or you can choose the usual creative or select one of the scenarios that are available. This free roam, this is coming. I assume it's there, it's grayed out, it's not ready yet, but I can just about read out the text there which says survival mode without hunger management, and I'm guessing there may be, that might extend further to maybe no O2 management and stuff like that, but let's stick with normal survival for now. I'm going to just keep everything as it is. We've got a size class 3 planet. Let's go. Okay, so a normal survival game starts out pretty much as we expect. One of the first things you'll notice is your health and food are pretty low to start off with. So the first thing that you're going to be wanting to do in this version is start collecting food straight away. You do have a survival tool. You've got some stuff to heal with. The bandages now do actually heal you health-wise, as well as seal broken legs and stuff like that, and you've got a portable heater tent as per usual. Survival tool, at least you don't have to create that from your survival constructor now, but you'll also notice the model has changed slightly, but we've got the same classic 3 options to choose from. One of the other things, if you're like me and you're starting a game with volumes and weight enabled, you'll notice that you're going to be struggling to carry as much as you usually do. Just picking up those 3 iron ores, we're now already at 64 out of 500 volume. This is going to cause a bit of a stir in the early game, I believe, because as you collect ores from these rocks, as you would normally do, you're going to struggle to actually continue filling that inventory, and once you've filled that inventory, you're going to have nowhere to put it. Well, that is to say, until you have a survival constructor. So I think the first 3 levels from 1 to 3 are going to be a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. But this is early survival game. It shouldn't be easy, in my opinion. And so it'll be interesting to see how players get on with this new weight and mass system that limits your backpack to just 500 liters. And as we pick up our 3rd rock there, we can see that we're at 172 of 500. Now, as you progress the early game and say you want to pick up some wood and you've been collecting ores all day long, we're just going to hit this tree to try and collect some wood, but let's see if this actually chops down. There we go. And you'll notice that we cannot pick that up. It will not let us. Our inventory is full, not because we've run out of slots, but in actual fact, we've run out of volume. We have 4 silicon, 4 copper, and 18 iron in our inventory, and that is all the ores and resources we can carry for now. So what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to unlock that survival constructor as a matter of course, because we physically cannot pick anything else up. So we need that portable constructor, which means we're going to have to level up to 3. Once we get that portable constructor, we should be able to add items to it and hopefully that will take some of the burden off our backpack. Once we can place our portable constructor, easy tiger, I'm watching you. Once we can place our portable constructor, we can add our things to it, and then we can pick up our wood, and all is well in the world once more. Now this portable constructor is going to be an absolute lifesaver going forward. Hang on a second. Go away. Oh yeah, you want to fight the... Oh, okay. The bugs win now. So when we place our portable constructor, it is going to be a fairly permanent fixture, I suspect, because once we start adding things like ingots and whatnot into it, we're going to be absolutely unable to carry everything out of that portable constructor to change locations. So a bit of planning is going to be required, which is made all the more difficult by the fact of the fog of war. Now, interestingly, on this map, I can see immediately that there is some Talon territory down there to the south. I can check on my faction to see what my standing is with the Talon, and it is very low neutral, which means one false step it will go to unfriendly, and I'll be fighting off the Talon as well. So if I do head south, I'm going to have to tread carefully, because the Talon don't like it when you pick plants, mine, or kill animals like that little git over there. So a little bit more strategy in the early game, I suspect. Again, everything here that you're seeing is subject to change. This is the first experimental build, so take it all with a pinch of salt for now. Now, like I said, if you're in the Talon territory like I am now, it is very easy to annoy them. All I need to do is pick some plants or kill some animals around, or even mine some of the ore. I'm just going to pick some plants over here, which is nicely laid out in front of me. Oh, this is a new one. Let's pick this one. Natural stimulant, and we can see down at the bottom, -9 RP to the Talon, and that has affected my standing with them thusly. Now, in order to gain favor with the Talon, I think, from what I understand from the forum posts, I need to kill some predators in their territory, and then they will be happy with me. As well, I do believe killing Xerax does improve your Talon standing. Now, to flip that on the head, if I was to kill a bunch of Talon, my standing with the Xerax would improve. Yeah, there's some doggy dogs here. Let's be having you. There we go. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, there we can see down at the bottom that it was very quick there. If you didn't, it said, I don't know if this appears in the PDA log actually. PDA log? No, it doesn't. That's a shame. But we can see immediately that our Talon rating has gone right down. We are now unfriendly with the Talon. We just killed a bunch of their dogs. But our Xerax rating has actually gone up. Now, if I continue to shoot up this village, if we find some more things to kill, like this guy here, and just in fact shooting the blocks, it seems to improve things quite remarkably. Hello, Chief. This is bad. I feel bad. But my Xerax rating has gone so high that I'm now neutral. And if I was to continue, it would carry on until I was friendly, and then ultimately honoured with the Xerax. So you can actually be friends with the enemies now, just by sacrificing a few natives. There we go. We're honoured now with the Xerax. Now, the other thing is they have added the iron sights, which we saw in the patch notes. We can see here that hopefully a little bit easier to shoot things as I completely shoot and miss this little insect. Fortunately, the usual guns still got their sights. Some new guns have got their sights. And you notice as I mouse over a target, the crosshair turns red when it's actually when you can actually hit it. There's recoil on all weapons now, and there's less recoil on the laser weapons, which give them an extra bonus as you shoot things down like that. A little laser pistol here is pretty cool. Barely any recoil, plus it sounds awesome. And of course, for some reason, there's a sight on the shotgun. Yeah. Okay, so now for the complicated bit. Now, as you progress the game as normal, you'll get a base and you'll get a hover miner probably. Now, with the logistics system, you can now transfer items between the two without having to put them in your backpack first. Now, if we pay attention to the little Wi-Fi icon down at the bottom left of the screen, where my health and stuff is displayed, as I get close to things, that lights up, but it only lights up for that item that I get close to. So there isn't a point between the two, the base and the hover vessel, where I can access both at the same time. So to facilitate that, Eleon have added in a block called the Wi-Fi connector, and it looks a bit like this. So if I get two of those, I'm going to stick one on my auger there. I'm going to stick the other one haphazardly there. And now, wherever I go in the immediate vicinity, I can see that there's a number 2 and the Wi-Fi signal next to it. Now, if I access my logistics just by hitting tab and then logistics at the top, I can now access both the drill auger, the base, and I can set different ones on each one. There we go. So there's the auger and there's that one there. So I can actually have the harvest box of the auger on the right and the base cargo box, or even maybe even the furnaces. I'm not sure how the furnaces work yet. I can have the base box on the left, so I can transfer things left and right, backwards and forwards, but it'll only work reliably if you've got those Wi-Fi connectors on each one. Otherwise you'll have to get very close to one to access it, but then you wouldn't be able to access the other one that's further away. With the base, with a cargo box in there, I'm just going to keep this very simple because I don't want to overcomplicate things, because I'm still trying to understand this myself. Let me pull some resources in a second. So if I access that logistics there, switch to my player there, I can shift click that over there, switch back to the auger there, and I can transfer those over like that and back again. Now the other thing is, if I click this button in the middle, this connects the bases box to this toolbar down here, so I can now have that there, which means I can do anything with these while I'm within that Wi-Fi connection zone of the base. If at any point I disconnect those, materials go back into the original box. So if those materials were, let's say, an SV block and a bunch of blocks, now if I click connect and I put this down here, so I can have them down in my toolbar. While, as long as I'm connected, I can start placing these blocks and I can start building up a small SV. And this is how you are going to build with the new logistics system. You're not going to have them in your backpack. They're going to be in this virtual toolbar at the bottom here that is actually connected to the storage in the base. So if you're worried about not being able to carry enough blocks to build stuff, that's how you're going to get around that. You're going to have to build on a base or where there is cargo boxes that you can access through the logistics menu. Everything is done in these logistics now. Now there is some more blocks that they have added in just to confuse even more. So as we know from the patch notes, the cargo containers whose icon have changed are now much smaller than they were before. In fact, we can see if we hover the mouse over, we've got 8,000 liters, 16,000 liters. But if we look over at the container controller, we can see volume capacity of 8,000 liters, but a maximum volume of a lot. And each container extension has 8,000 liters in it. So if we get one of these and we get a bunch of these, now obviously I'm putting this in my inventory because I'm in God mode and have access to the item menu. We start with our container controller. Let's place that over here, and then we've got to connect these blocks to it, and we can do anything. These are sort of normal blocks, so you can make them. You can use the control in order to make big, large selections of them. You can also select oddly shaped ones, or not oddly, but other shapes ones as well. So it could be useful to fill those awkward gaps within ships and stuff if you need to. But at the moment they can't be textured, but that might change. So keep an eye on it. This is just the first experimental build, so that might all change. Now, if we go into our logistics, we should be able to see container controller and the combined literage volume of those containers that are connected to it. Now, if we were to have another container controller and some containers, we could put it on the other side, just over here. There's our container controller and our 5 containers. Now, we should see 2 container controllers. And we should be able to, if we go into the P menu, on that container controller, we should be able to rename that one. If we group it maybe. Yep, there we go. We should be able to rename it to right. So we know that this one is the right hand side of the base and the other one is on the left hand side of the base. So now we can access both left and right as we need to in the base. One other thing with logistics as well is when you're accessing a vehicle like the Auger here, I can use this drop down box here to select either fuel or oxygen. So let's select fuel, and then I can drag that straight into the Auger and fill its tanks up. I don't even have to be next to it. I could be anywhere in the base managing all my vehicles right next to each other or far away from each other while I'm sat in bed, which is nice. Now if we add a large constructor to the base just like this and we hit the F key to access it, you'll notice this is all changed as per the patch notes, and we could select our input. So we could say input on our controller that's on the left side of the base and output into our controller on the right side of the base. Normal production queue, it'll pull resources from the top and output them to the bottom. As some of the other changes, if you remember, we got a new boarding ramp, there we go, that allows access into CVs. This seems to only affect CVs at the moment, but hopefully they'll add one in for SVs soon too. Along with that is you also got some new completely retractable landing gears, again just for CVs for now. These fold directly into the block and disappear for good. Hopefully we'll see some SV ones pretty soon as well. Like I said, I'll link down to the patch notes below. Check them out. There's lots of information in there and lots of changes that might affect your game and your playstyle. And hopefully you found this video useful. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye bye.